Good evening, New York, and thanks for joining us for a deep dive into the stories shaping our city tonight. We're kicking things off with the growing pains of a new administration, as Mayor-elect Zohran Mamdani's ambitious plans collide with the city's bottom line. Plus, a major break in the tragic case of a Brooklyn superintendent, and a look at the housing crisis as thousands of New Yorkers face eviction. It seems the honeymoon is over for Mayor-elect Zohran Mamdani before he even takes office. His bold campaign promises, like free college tuition at CUNY and universal high-quality childcare, are now under the microscope. The Independent Budget Office, or IBO, dropped a bombshell report today, projecting a potential $5 billion budget gap within the first 2 years of Mamdani's term, if these programs go forward as planned. The report warns that the funding for these massive initiatives relies too heavily on one-time federal aid, which is set to dry up by the end of next year. The mayor-elect's team is pushing back hard. His incoming chief of staff, Sarah Chan, released a statement calling the IBO's numbers conservative and politically motivated. She argues the budget watchdogs are completely missing the point, failing to calculate the long-term economic benefits. The administration's theory is that these programs will boost workforce participation and expand the city's tax base over time, paying for themselves in the long run. But the political reality is tough. The report has put Mamdani in a corner, forcing his team to start thinking about which promises they can deliver on day one and which might have to wait. There's immense pressure on him to present a crystal clear, fiscally sound plan before he's even sworn in. This whole situation is setting the stage for a major battle between the new mayor and the city council right out of the gate. We're watching this one closely, as it will define the direction of the city for the next 4 years. Now, turning to public safety, we have a significant update on a story that has shaken a Brooklyn community. The NYPD announced this afternoon they have arrested a suspect in the tragic death of a beloved Park Slope building superintendent. The superintendent was killed just 2 days ago while confronting someone stealing packages. The suspect is now facing charges of manslaughter and theft. This incident has sparked an emotional and intense debate in the neighborhood about the rise in petty crime and whether people feel safe in their own homes. In response to what has become a citywide headache, especially around the holidays, the NYPD has launched a new initiative called Operation Safe Deliveries. They're deploying plainclothes officers and using decoy packages in apartment building lobbies across Manhattan and Brooklyn, hoping to catch thieves in the act. The goal is to send a strong message and deter this kind of crime. However, critics are already saying this is just a band-aid on a much deeper problem. They argue that what is really needed is a conversation about community police relations and how police resources are allocated across the 5 boroughs. We'll continue to follow the aftermath of the Park Slope tragedy and see if Operation Safe Deliveries makes any real difference on the streets. Finally, we turn to the city's ongoing housing crisis, which has reached a critical turning point. The citywide moratorium on evictions, a lifeline for countless New Yorkers during the pandemic, has officially ended. Today was the first day in over a year that landlords could legally proceed with eviction cases. And the city's housing courts are already seeing a massive surge in activity. Housing advocacy groups are sounding the alarm, estimating that as many as 20,000 households are now at immediate risk of losing their homes. The city has set aside a significant amount of money for rental assistance to help people get back on their feet. But here's the problem. The process to actually get that money is slow, complicated, and buried in bureaucracy. This leaves many tenants in a state of limbo, unsure if help will arrive before an eviction notice does. Meanwhile, a familiar battle over land and housing is heating up again. The future of the Elizabeth Street Garden in Nolita remains a major point of contention. The current mayor recently put a temporary block on a planned affordable housing project at the site. But today, Mayor-elect Mamdani made it clear he intends to reverse that decision as soon as he takes office. He called the move to save the garden a grave mistake that prioritizes aesthetics over equity, signaling his firm commitment to building the affordable housing units. This fight over a small patch of green space perfectly captures the larger, more painful debate in our city. How do we balance the desperate need for affordable housing with the preservation of public community spaces? It's a question with no easy answers. That's all the time we have for tonight. Thanks for tuning in. We'll be back with more stories that matter to you. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you never miss an update from our team. Stay safe, New York.